What's happening, everybody? We welcome you to spring season. For those of you that are new to what spring season looks like here in San Diego Prep Insider, we're non-apologetic, largely a baseball show. It's what we wait for every year because this right here is the real version of this show with Dave Ring sitting back in. Dave, you got ice on or what's underneath the okay.
Baseball guys always have ice.
Dave Ring, Tommy Morris, Bodie De Silva. Bodie's joining us on behalf of Scorebook Live, the official digital content partner of the CIF. Oh, actually, now the entire high school. You're Sports Illustrated national writer, Bodie De Silva. Like, all sorts of cool things. I don't even know what to plug anymore. I think
you have to change your Twitter to SDPreps_SI.
SISD Preps. Yeah. I guess my on-air readout copy is potentially outdated for Bodie, but you can follow them at Scorebook Live. Download the app. It's baseball season, and we will talk about the other sports, but largely those will be featured in the interviews, and that's how we'll get around to other stuff. Game balls maybe every now and then. Tommy forays over into some home runs and steals from the softball side, but we're a baseball show. It's what we're best at. Dave Ring has always been known as a guy who likes offense, but now he is a guy who is getting yelled at Padre games about Dave's dingers. People are finding you in public now. Can you tell them that story real quick?
Oh yeah, I was at a Padre game and someone said, "Hey, you're from Dave's Dingers. You're Dave."
Just completely can't. You weren't, because I'm assuming you were not wearing the Dave Ring branded shirts.
I was at the Padre store and the guy was working there and he said he saw me on the show.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it was very flattering.
So Dave does home runs, Tommy does steals, Buddy does all the other stats. Guys, can we start with we're what 5-7 type games in right now, 3 for some of the teams. So the top 10 now actually sort of is relevant enough, I think, to talk about.
It's been wild, though, I think, especially compared to other sports. You have so many top teams that play each other in these early season tournaments, and it's not like football where you get your one game. Some teams can play 3-4 games in a week, and it's difficult just figuring out, can you move up by going 2-1? How all does that work? But it's fun, and I think another week or two it'll get a little more sorted out, but there have been some upsets.
So how do we want to do this? Everybody here has a top 10 that they're cool running through, 10-1, 1-10? Tommy, you want out of it for another week or two?
I want one more week.
Okay.
Just because I want to get used to pitching staff, stuff like that.
Well, and I mean, I'm also... This is a little bit of a changing of the guard year. Like we had for so many years an established name brand at Eastlake that was the perceived incumbent. And this year we don't. Not saying that they're like a bad team, but we just don't have that front runner name brand Marcelo Mayer or the previous generation that Bodie, you and I were talking about of Casey Schmidt and all that. Like for a while there was just Eastlake, and then everyone else is coming for it. This year, it seems a little bit different. So, Tommy...
I'll do this. I'll just be the honorable mention guy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
OLI. Tommy's got the OLI. So, Bodie, Dave, who wants to start? Bodie, you got your first top 10 of the season?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, starting at number 1, and that'll already change because I saw them lose on Monday, but Rancho Bernardo entered the week 5-0. They're now 5-1, but very good team. Some talented underclassmen, too, so I think this isn't just a one-year run from them. St. Augustine have at number 2. They've been rolling. They did tie, but other than that, nobody has beaten them. Granite Hills at number 3. They did lose again on Monday, but very talented team. I think overall has the best combination of hitting and pitching. We've got San Marcos at number 4. La Costa Canyon at number 5, which is a little surprise to me because they were so good last year. Obviously won that state title, but graduated a lot of guys in that. Junior varsity group has really stepped up. Madison at number 6. La Jolla Country Day at number 7. Eastlake moved up a couple spots, so they are at number 8 for me this week. Santana's at number 9, and Torrey Pines at number 10.
Dave?
Our first 5 are exactly the same, so I'll just leave it with that. RB Saints, Granite Hills, San Marcos, La Costa right now. I'm going to go out on a limb and put a couple teams up in my top 10, and I'm not going to really list the number here, the order, but I'm going to give you
the other
Del
5.
Norte this year as a solid team, so I've got them in my top 10. They got 3 committed outfielders and some really good pitching. Carlsbad, I've got in my top 10, and I'm going to throw Francis Parker in there. They're actually 8-2 right now. They've got a new coaching staff. They're really young, but they know how to produce runs. They've got a ton of talent, and I think, like Bodie was saying, this team is built for the future. They've got some freshmen that are committed already to D1 schools. And I've got Mission Hills. I'm going to give them some love. They've had a really good start to the season. and I think that Santana will round out the last 5. So those 5 are in my top 10, and then the same with Bodie.
It is just so nice to be eclectic and have everything from Mission Hills up in the north to Santana out in the east to a couple of the South Bay schools on maybe the outside looking in. Like, we don't get this a lot in the other
Mission
sports.
Hills is 5-1 this year already. Santana's 7-2.
Yeah, I really think there's 12 schools you could tell me that we're going to win open. I'd be like, okay, I could see making the case for them.
Well,
I think it's as wide open as we've seen.
I do want to throw out the caveat that we, as we say, we are unapologetically a baseball show. We're not going to just spend the whole year talking about top 10 and open. Like, the race for D4 is fun. The race for D3 is like, there always ends up being something good at all of the levels. I don't know how to say this, like not being a hater, but there's a drop-off sometimes in some of the lower playoff divisions. And for those of you out there watching, like, we don't see that happening in baseball this year, so stay tuned with us. If you don't hear us talking a lot of D5 right now, it will become part of the program and part of the show.
Yeah, I'll just add a couple more. This team does not have a great record right now, but they've challenged themselves and played well against good teams. That's Bonita Vista. If you look at their schedule, really, really tough early schedule. I think it's going to help them when they get into league play. And I don't know what's going to happen with this team down the road, but I just got to mention because they're undefeated. I don't think they're a top 10 team right now. They could surprise me later if they just never lose, but Escondido currently is 6-0-1. So just thought I'd give them a little shout out.
I love Tommy, go all in on Escondido right now.
Oh, well, Escondido Charter's also 4-0.
Time to run.
Yeah, they should team up.
Should Tommy run for the mayor of Escondido? Might need to be a poll question. Tommy, own that all season. We'll get you some shirts made up with Escondido and Escondido Charter love. Can we get to game balls first, Tommy, because you did not have a top 10, and then let's go Dave's Dingers?
Yeah, and just one more shout out for Helix also. Watch out
please.
for them towards the end of the year. I think that'll be a team that'll creep, maybe not creep into the top 10, but they'll surprise some people.
Yeah, I think that Division 1 race with the teams who don't make open is still going to be just about as good. I mean, there may not be the star power we saw last year, 2 first-round picks, Marcelo and Carson Williams, but you look around the county, so many teams have committed players. As Christian just said, D1 through D5 is going to be great.
The greatest championship game I've ever seen was a D1 championship game between Vista and Granite Hills.
Yep.
And that's where Trevor Schinkel from right field threw a Vista kid out at home to end the game with Vista's best hitter on deck. Yeah, those were technically like teams playing for quote-unquote 9th place. So I love it. Tommy, game balls?
Game balls. We're going to start at Poway Addison Klipsch. I'm saying your name right, Addison, because you're one of the best sophomores in the county. Felt like I said it right. First 4 games of the season, he had 2 triples, a home run, and an 800 on-base percentage. Again, this is a kid who will probably, I don't know if it's too early to say this, will probably be a major league draft pick and not go to college.
Arizona State commit,
So
they've locked him in.
Yeah, they've locked him in, but I don't know if he'll ever get there. But for now, Addison's only a sophomore. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Grant MacArthur, Granite Hills, 4 home runs in his first 6 games. He'll be going to play at Hawaii. Pretty good weather out there, I would say. Rainbow Warriors. Sam Garwal from Canyon Crest, First 3 starts, 16 strikeouts, 12 strikeouts, 16 strikeouts. Pretty impressive. He's got a perfect 0 ERA, and he's got to probably have a pretty perfect GPA if he's going Northwestern. That's where he's committed to, going Northwestern. Ryan Ellis from Patrick Henry pitched a shutout and had an RBI against Olympian. They won 2-0, so he basically won the whole game. Good job, Ryan. He'll be going to Santa Clara.
He's nasty, too. He starts on the very right side of the rubber. So if you're a righty, he's like almost standing on the same side as you, and he throws freaking gas. It's dirty.
I don't know why everyone doesn't do that.
I know, right? Well, I was hanging out with some pro guys in the offseason, and certain guys like David Wells have all their pitchers do that. Like I was hanging out with Pat Edwards at Westview, and he said that's a must. If you're a righty, you need to move to that side of the rubber.
I always understood it just to
interesting.
sometimes be that pitchers are mentally frail, and that literally if your line of sight has you like on top of the guy, you just feel like you can't throw that
Weren't
in
you
a
a pitcher?
third ball. Yeah, that's why I say it. Seriously though, because it like the angles are, when you really get over it, if you scoot over 4 inches, you could feel like you're scooting your arm over. So you're throwing it
guys
at
do
his back,
right?
And some guys just can't feel that release point.
As a hitter, I would hate it.
It makes total sense.
It makes it a lot more difficult.
Well, it makes sense that you would move from one side of the rubber to the other side of the rubber, also depending on if it was a lefty or righty hitter. That you would want to just be moving to jam the dude up anyway.
Creating different angles towards the plate. Yep.
Can you imagine the hell that would unleash on mounds and
Right.
how many different holes you would have dug up there? Oh,
Totally.
it'd be awful.
Wouldn't be surprised if those guys have a sub-0 ERA to finish the season. Those guys don't give up much.
Sub-zero.
Him and
I
Garrett
wait, I like that.
sub-zero.
So they
Like
get
a,
negative runs.
Yeah, like a fridge, like a sub-zero fridge.
All right,
you
we're
know?
putting that on the poll.
So
Absolutely 100% for sure. Can you have a
So they're gonna win a game 2 to -1.
Well,
They're
no,
gonna-
well, so basically what you're saying is the premise is that you pitch so well
Yeah.
Right.
that,
just have-
that the team loses runs as the
Right.
game
Yeah, I'll
goes
be
on.
interested. We saw the shutout streak by Joey McGreasy, who broke David Wells' record a couple years back, and Garrett Wells on his way there. So we'll see if
Yeah,
he can
he
string
is
together a few
really-
more
Just
runs.
for the people, remind them what it
he's
is.
nasty, too.
We're gonna hit the elevator music button for a second. Go ahead, Tommy. Ask your question.
What? Just for the people, what is the record?
Now I'm on the spot. 52 and a third, something
Innings?
right in that range. Yeah, and he's at 44 strikeouts and 20 innings, no runs. So
Yeah,
little work to do, but
he's almost halfway there.
Yeah, and he'll be playing good league teams. I assume he'll take the mound pretty much every Monday start to the week, and I think he has Vista next week. So
And those strikeout games were against good teams too. 60
Yeah.
strikeouts in a game is absolutely insane.
yeah, what he's done is it?
He's done it twice.
Yeah, Point Loma, Claremont, Torrey Pines. So I mean,
Correct.
those are
I mean, Torrey Pines is a top 10 team,
Yeah.
so that's no joke.
yeah, and Point Loma's got a couple Division I kids in the lineup as well. So
Is that all your game balls, Tommy?
That's all 4.
All right, Dave. You got dingers and game balls.
I got some game
and-
balls for you.
Okay, so let's. Because
do
I got
that?
sound for game balls.
Okay.
Or I got sound for dingers, not game balls. So
All
we're gonna
right.
get game balls first.
Let's
and then
do game balls first. Let's get those out of the way. Like I was saying, the Saints are hot right now. MJ Sweeney, Kansas commit, hitting .588, 9 RBIs in 6 games. He's the son of former major leaguer Mike Sweeney, so there's some bloodlines there. That's why, big reason why his team's 6-0. Jackson Waller, Mission Hills, another reason why they're playing well. He's hitting .636 with 14 hits in 6 games. Pretty impressive, and that includes 4 doubles. So this guy's off to a hot start. His OPS on fire. Jason Wright, at San Diego State commit. He goes to Westview High School. He's hitting .526. He just hit his 2nd home run of the year. And most impressive thing about Jason is he's coming off of Tommy John surgery just last season and came back and didn't miss a beat, just raking, headed to state next year. Last game ball, Nevin Noonan for Francis Parker. And I'm highlighting guys whose teams are really doing well right now. He's hitting .517, 15 hits, 10 runs scored in 10 games.
His first name is what?
Nevin.
You think he was named after?
Phil? Nevin Noonan. Not sure. He might be related to
We'll have to have him on the show.
Nick Noonan, who was a former
Oh, that makes
San
sense.
Diego local draft
I
pick.
didn't play against that guy. That wasn't fun.
Well, he went to Francis Parker also, right?
Yeah, I think he was like 35th overall pick, something
Right.
like that. Yeah, he was good.
All right,
Dinger-
there's my
Dingers?
first set of game balls for the year. Now we got
Dinger.
dingers, baby.
All right, here we go. For everyone that is not familiar with this show, Dave Dingers is by far the only reason we exist still as a podcast. We just wait all year for Dave to talk about home runs.
I will be wearing a
because
Dave's Dingers shirt this year.
He produces a list of just good home run hitters, and people send him home run clips. I got to see my first home run of the year at a Mar Vista game the other day, so I got all jacked up for this segment. Dave, take it away.
All right. Well, I'm going to start this segment with a little bit of a different flair this year. This is the Inside the Park Dinger segment. So the first home run that I really wanted to highlight this year was an Inside the Park home run by Nick Cook of Poway. He hit the ball off the left center wall. It was a true Inside the Park home run, hit the wall, caromed off. He ran home. I mean, the guy flew around the bases. Probably one of the most exciting plays I've seen this year. Here we go. Here's the leaderboard. Grant MacArthur. Granite Hills, he's sitting at 4, but there are 3 other guys that have 4 home runs. River, Diaz, De Leon, Grossmont, and has 4, and Ben Haar, who is at Helix, who you said they're a really good team this year also. He's got 4 also. In 6 games, for most of these guys, 4 home runs is a pretty impressive. Francis Parker's played 10 because they have artificial turf, so no rainouts for them.
It's out of here.
For right now, I think this guy Grant MacArthur could hit 15 at this rate. You know, he could blow one of those records. Get close to it. Get those records.
Well, it's always
Broken
fun.
this
It's always
year,
fun
Grant.
in the beginning of the year, right out the gate, to be like, oh, let's project this guy to be able to hit 35 of them this year. So I'm down. I'm on
Or at
board
least-
with that
or at least
narrative for at
15.
least now. Tom, you were leaning forward like you had something.
Yeah, I mean, well, I hate when we do this kind of sometimes because then I feel like we're just setting the kid up to get walked more. The more I feel like the more
Good lineup though. So
Yeah.
I mean, if they start walking him, other guys will step up. So they'll have to
getting the
figure out
Bonds treatment.
that
Tommy, I
decision.
appreciate that you feel like we have that kind of listenership that other schools are listening.
You know who gets pitched to is the guys at San Marcos, and the guys at San Marcos play in a field where you could hit 15 bombs.
Yeah.
So you got guys like Zach Farrell, right, who's already going to put maybe another 10 out this year, and their big hitter, which is what's his name again, Ryan
Ryan
Rivera. He's only got 2, but he's going to hit another 10.
You know what? They're all gonna hit 15.
Yeah.
If we say they're all gonna hit 15, then no one gets walked.
This should be a fun season. Trevor Fox, I mean, this guy's 6'9", hits the ball 400 feet. He's got a couple. Kian Vu, Arizona State commit, he's got a couple. Jacob Campagna's got a couple. So this is already in 6 games.
I've always been a big fan of what Dufek is up to at San Marcos.
Right.
And I feel like
They're
we
solid.
started with them as what, D2?
Yeah,
Maybe
they
the-
put those runs together.
That was the beginning of when we were all a show, was they were a D2 school, kind of on that first initial ascension up. And I got to give them a ton of credit for never really having come down. I know that you can get kind of lost in the wash in that open division of it ended up being a little bit of a randomizer, like
Yeah.
who's going to make it out of there. But if you're up in that consistently year after year after year, you deserve a lot of credit.
Well, and I think for this year's group especially, there are a decent number of returners, and they were the 1 seed in Open last year. Lost that opening round game to Eastlake, who Eastlake was not your typical 8 seed, but definitely I think from them they have some things they want to prove this year.
Is that everything for baseball wise? Do we have anything else left that you guys wanted to get
Yeah, that's
out
it.
on the show this week?
I will give out some game balls.
Oh, deal.
Yeah, vote.
I didn't. I thought I just kept seeing Tommy's texts back on game balls, and that kind of I tuned out on the chat and assumed that he was taking every player. I totally forgot about that.
He
Bodie.
did
I
take some of the good ones, but
also,
No,
if
that's
you-
why I do the text, so I can just take all the good ones. That way, there's no question. That's who did it first.
Bodie, fire off.
yeah, I'll start out. We've already mentioned Benjamin Harr, but started the season on fire. 4 home runs already. First 2 games of the year, racked up 13 total RBIs, hitting .483. Has also pitched 3 times. He's headed to USD, so looks like a really good player there. Victor Castaneda at Bonita Vista. They did beat Granite Hills. They're 4-4-1 so far, so up and down a little bit for them. But for him personally, 3 home runs, hitting .516, so he's really proved himself. Cody Del Vecchio, pitcher who's signed with UCLA, has had some great outings so far this year. 13 strikeouts against Chaparral, 10 against Murrieta Valley. I saw him had 7 against Rancho Bernardo on Monday. Unfortunately, had a blister issue, so hopefully that clears up because that can be one that can bug you. And then Cohen Buchanan, I will mention him from Oceanside throughout the first no-hitter of the season in Oceanside's win over Hoover.
Let's go. First no hitter of the season always feels nice. Bodie, everyone can check your stuff out on the Scorebook Live app.
Yep.
But tell them how they can find you now at Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, so we're over on their platform now. Some really good stuff with them. Collaborating. We're not doing a national top 25 for baseball this season like we have for football and basketball. Hopefully that will be started there in the future. But scorebooklive.com/California, new platform we're on. I think it looks a lot cleaner, and encourage you all to go check it out.
I think that you should definitely all go check that out. You should follow Tommy at Real Tommy Morris. Dave is at Dave Ringford, Canyon Side Cages. What are you branded as right now? Because DR is what it says on the hat.
DR player development.
DR player development now. No more Canyon Side. I'm DR player development. You can find me at Instagram. That's where I'm most
Yo, you got the greatest
Most
Instagram.
active.
You got to pop in TikTok now though.
my TikTok is a little more active now.
catching
Ooh,
up.
I haven't seen the TikTok yet.
Yeah,
I'll
Dave.
have a TikTok, so.
Dave runs a successful TikTok. You should get it. Does your wife? Not yet. Does your fiance do TikTok?
Her sister does, but she's out on the TikTok.
Not like
Her sister's,
not
like,
me.
famous.
Oh, the treat has worn off.
Look who's coming.
the intern is coming for Tommy's
This
balls.
should be a TikTok star right here.
She should be. I will close this out with saying the one thing that I want to amend from my previous statement that this is going to be primarily a baseball show. We will close out every episode I have deemed with our weekly update on what Jax Leatherwood is up to. For those of you that don't, no, he's a
Volleyball,
he-
thank God.
He might be a better volleyball player than the other two sports.
So can we get a volleyball state championship started?
Okay,
this year
so here's
we
what
can
I'm
get
saying.
a third one?
Well, we win enough of those, just so you know, on the general. But Jax Leatherwood, for those of you that didn't know, was initially somebody that we all were just kind of like, oh, like they spell it with an X. That's funny. Then he curb stomps my beloved La Jolla and proves everyone in this room wrong. Goes on to win a section
I picked that.
championship that Tommy then went. No, the first game in the regular season.
Did I?
When they won the shootout. No, I have the graphic
okay,
that
all
says
right,
everybody
all
picked
right,
La Jolla because I bullied all of you guys into picking La Jolla.
Okay.
But then Jax goes on and becomes the beloved quarterback that's like, now he's a champ. He won a state basketball title because this dude just everything he touches
blocked,
turns to
what,
gold.
8 shots in the championship.
Something
game,
ridiculous like that. So I've just decided arbitrarily we're going to close out an update on what Jax is doing because by the time he graduates high school next year, mind you, this kid could like have a trillion state championships on accident and be elected mayor of San Diego. I don't know.
Like, 2 hands full of rings.
Yeah,
All the
just,
sections.
he's gonna have him hanging around on a necklace by the time he's out of here.
Tom
So
Brady.
yeah, so except that when Jax says he's done with high school, Jax will be done with high school because he will move on to the next level and not unannounced that he's coming back to high school for a 5th year or something like that. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in, sports fans.